sitting here as a first-person witness to something that is absolutely incredible. The MAGA movement, number one, and one of its biggest, strongest supporters in Steve Bannon. And I became like really sort of enthralled by the idea of the people that were coming through. Because you remember, Jack, when we were doing, I think you were the first guest when we started up Pandemic after impeachment, right? In late December, I think.
When we got banned from YouTube because they said it was misinformation, that it was a lab leak from Wuhan, China, and that Dr. Fauci was up to his ears in it, and they got banned from YouTube not long after. Some of the other folks around here, like Mr. Raheem Kassam, is hiding out in the back there.
Here, you know, he loves Club 47, but he says to Larry, "Hey Larry, I got to think. You call it Club 45. Why don't we change that name to Club 47?" That's psychological warfare. That's how Trump thinks. Back in early 23, Club 47, right? This is what populism is. You don't fully understand your power. You don't. You're just starting to feel it. And it goes back to an unbroken chain all the way back to the beginning, all the way back in every patriot's grave to the very start. First 90 days, you don't think this is providential, Trump's victory? On the evening of the 90th day of Trump's second term, the 19th of April, is the 250th anniversary of Lexington and Concord. Think about that. We had won more presidential elections, I think, since Nixon. We held more House seats and Senate seats and governorships because it's two sides of the same coin, right? It's forever wars. It's for the Wall Street and the tech oligarchs. It's to have you pay your taxes and pay for it, take your pension funds and pay for it, shipping the jobs. Oh, by the way, and have your sons and daughters go from the Hindu Kush to the Red Sea to Romania on the Ukraine border to the South China Sea, everywhere, to defend it. Of course, The Economist comes out today. You know, if you watch the show, we talk about Financial Times and Economist all the time, two leading magazines and newspapers in the world for the world's elites, for the party of Davos. The Economist comes out today, and you can't make this stuff up about how these folks just can't help themselves. They're giving guidance. They're giving guidance to Vivek and Elon as they start in on hold it. I'll talk about it on the show tomorrow. Here's their guidance. I am not making this up. Here's their guidance. They say, start here. The veterans' benefits are too good. I'm not. They got charts and they got graphs and they got all veterans' benefits are too good. Hey, you got all those geniuses on CNBC and Bloomberg TV and Fox Business and Brother Cavuto, and they got the knitted brows, and they're saying, well, tariffs are going to cause, inflation are going to cause superinflation. He put the biggest tariffs in history on the Chinese in 17, and prices dropped in 18 and 19. They got to learn what a tariff is. President Trump, number one, sees a bludgeon or come along to get people's minds right. And he's going to get them right. We talk about the BRICS nation all the time. This is why I'm so proud of the show. I'm proud of this audience. President Trump takes a text out the other night, BRICS nations. You guys get cute, try to go off the dollar, 100% tariffs. Joe Biden is going to have to pardon the boy. Because he's not a man. And these prisons are dangerous places. He would not last 48 hours in Danbury. He just wouldn't. It's so intense and dangerous, and the drugs are so overwhelming, he'd be in the hole, then he'd be shipped out, it'd be done. But it's not the pardon to just get him off. He went back to 1 January of 2014. He went back to the railhead. By the way, he went back to a time and place that Donald John Trump was impeached for investigating. Right? That's the power of Trump. He has petrified this place, Washington, D.C., the imperial capital, from the very beginning. And you know why? It's not just him as he's a blunt force instrument that leaves blunt force trauma, because he's a disruptor. I mean, come on, he's a man's man. He's a throwback to the 1950s and 40s when this country was great. He's not some vegan. He's not some guy who weighs 150 pounds. On MSNBC, do those guys eat? No, come on, man. Nobody's that thin all the time. They're all the same guy. We're going to include everybody, and we're going to bring them into MAGA, right? You're not going to change what your philosophy is and what your thinking is, but we know there are other Americans out there that are kind of turned up, but we're going to bring them in. We're going to bring in Democrats, we're going to bring in independents, and we're going to build a big tent, because 2/3 to 75% of the country are MAGA. And we can govern for 50 to 100 years if we deliver for the American people. But this is you that said that. You didn't hear any pundits talking about that. That's you. And that is what populism is. It's common sense and decency and smarts. Because remember, they think y'all are dumb as a box of rocks, right? They do. Right? They do. But you made the decision to do that. And Larry tells me it was a 3-1 vote the very first night, or the first night you did it, early in 2018. And then in 2021, when everybody was leaving, remember they're on TV, Trump can't do this, Trump's an insurrectionist, Trump's a criminal, all that. You stood in the breach. November 5th would have never happened if you didn't stand in the breach in those days.